Shalom. So today we're going to talk about maroons are not Israelites, right? So we're going to look at three different aspects of this. Christopher Columbus, the mercenary, not an explorer, not a navigator, mercenary. The Treaty of the Maroons and the British, and how it relates to the curses of Deuteronomy 28. The third one is the conclusion of the treaty. All right, so we're going to start with Christopher Columbus, the mercenary. Right, so we're going to go to this region in Europe. You had Portugal, you had you might be familiar with these regions, right? You had Portugal over here, you had Aragon, and you had Spain in the middle, right? But prior to this, it was called this region was called Hispania under the ancient Rome. When the Western Roman Empire fell, this region was lost, right? You had the Umayyad Caliphate from North Africa, who went up and the Arabs were running this region in the Iberian Peninsula, right? Now, over a process of time, it fell back to the Christians, right? And even in the movie The Viking, when Bjorn Ironside went to Spain, if you notice in the movie that there were Arabs in Spain, right? So that history is accurate because these people from here, the Umayyad Caliphate, were the first Arabs to make their way in this region. Now, over a process of time, like I said, it fell to the Christians, and the last region was a place called Grenada, right? So you had the king of Aragon, Ferdinand, and the lady Isabel, right? So this is how you got an entire united area called Spain. King Ferdinand of Aragon, Queen Isabel of Castile, they got together, and that's how it became one, right? So this was the last battle. This was the last Muslim region, right? Now, anyway, the entire region was fell to the Christians. No. So after this person went out in 14, let's put it here, 1492, right? He sailed all the way to the west. What he did though, on his way back, he went to this region. At the time, the king was Juan II, right? So Portugal is now aware of all the riches that is over here, and he wanted in on it, right? So what he did was he sent message to Spain, and they made an agreement. Remember, Portugal had the stronger military. They were better with the ships, the warships in the seas. So Spain would not want to make war with them, would not want to go to war with them, right? So they came to an agreement. However, as you know, Europeans, they can't really agree. So they had the Pope to decide who would get what parts of the land. So over here you'd have the Atlantic, North Atlantic region, right? So when the Pope gave a mark like this to the west of this line, to the east of this line, would go towards Portugal. So Portugal would go all around Africa, around Asia, right? This down here would be Africa. So they could navigate around here while everything to the west would go towards Spain, right? They did not feel as if that was fair to them, so they went back again and spoke with Spain. So they came to an agreement, so they shift this line to further west. And this is how Brazil end up belonging to Portugal, right? You know, they speak Portuguese. So that's how it is. And this line is called the, where can I write it? This is called the papal line of demarcation. Now, we were told that Christopher Columbus came with 3 ships, right? Not disputing that. Why do you travel in 3 ships at that time? So you can come off as a trader, because if you have more than 3 ships, you're considered as a fleet, right? So 3 ships, traders. So this is why the story was told about 3 ships. However, they came to spy the lands, the defenses, the warriors, and all of that, right? So he went back to Spain and came back with what? More ships and warriors. Right? Just about 4 years after, they came back to invade, right? And this was done in the name of the Holy Roman Empire, which is Spain, France, and Britain at that time. So what did they do? They waged war. So it was actually a, let me put it here, race war. It was a transatlantic race war, right? Had nothing to do with just a slave trade. This was a war. So they would conquer the warriors and enslave the rest of the people. And what did they do? Convert So they would call these people savages, barbarians, and they were converting them to Christians, right? So what they actually did was denationalize the people. How did they do that? They took their indigenous rights, and this is why they could tell us that they came and saw people called Arawaks and Tainos. These people never existed. You will never find anything that these people left behind. Just like if you go to Egypt, you can see things that they left behind to say the people look like this. You will never see, you'll never find in any museum anywhere in the world things pertaining to these people, because they never existed, right? And as long as we think that the rightful owner of this land are these people, then guess what? We will never have a right to fight back for something, because we think that we only came here after 1492, when slaves were being transported from Europe, not from Africa, from Europe to the Caribbean. We are the rightful owner to these lands, not some people called Arawaks or Tainos. Right? No. With us being denationalized, with us being stripped of our right to this land, right? What they did was they end up schooling us. We use our education system, their education systems, right? As it says in Deuteronomy 28:48. It says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things." That includes religious institutions, school system, right? And this all part of us becoming what we know today as Christians, right? For you to take away a people from their God, that has to be done through mass murdering. You have to kill all the elders and re-educate the younger minds. So that took generations, right? So this is just for us to have a little understanding of the Spanish while they were over here, because not much of their history are being told. Everything we know is really what happened from the English took over in 1655, right? Now we're going to deal with the Treaty of the Maroons and the British. and how it relates to the curses of Deuteronomy 28.